it's me. So today I wanted to make my first ever discussion video. And the reason for it is an interview that GameSpot had with Genshin developers. I'm not gonna lie, this interview has me concerned about the future of Genshin. They touched upon several questions, and MiHoYo gave very vague answers to almost all of the questions, and the answers they gave were not positive, in my opinion. But to avoid any confusion, let's bring up the transcript and we'll read it together. And let's focus on the wording, because there might be something we're missing, and maybe it's not as bad as we think. Let's find out. So, here we go. The question is: currently, the Spiral Abyss is the only true endgame content for players at high adventure ranks. Are there any plans to release new permanent endgame content in the same vein as the Spiral Abyss? MiHoYo then answers: the Spiral Abyss is one of the most effective ways for players to test out their party composition and combat strength. If we designed another type of permanent endgame that is similar to the Spiral Abyss, it might end up creating excessive anxiety for our players. Not everyone is interested in Musk Reef, which is the Spiral Abyss. Just like the Genius Invocation trading card game we unveiled in the special program for version 3.2, we are also working on designing more interesting gameplay in the future. As an open world game, Genshin Impact has a natural compatibility with various types of gameplay, which gives us confidence in the long-term operation. So, let's break this apart. They say the Spiral Abyss is one of the most effective ways for players to test out their party strength. And yeah, they're correct. This is true. As it's near impossible anywhere else to find a group of mobs that doesn't die halfway through your combo. But here comes my first gripe with this statement. The Spiral Abyss is the hardest content out there. And to be honest, it's quite fucking easy. And 4-star units, which has been around since launch, can clear it with ease. So what are we supposed to be testing our combat strength for? Clearing the Abyss even faster when the next 14 days rolls around? Sure, I guess it's a valid reason, but it's not a very enticing nor a fun one, in my opinion. I mean, Genshin does their characters like no other gacha game. They are crafted with love, care, and usually with unique, fun, and intricate mechanics. The game invites you on a min-max journey that takes you from the tallest, snow-covered peaks to the darkest depths, hunting for artifacts until you can run the domains in your sleep. You're invited to strategize, read up, and build your team until it runs like a well-oiled machine. Every character complementing and making use of the next. And that, I'd say, is one of Genshin's biggest strengths. You never feel like you're just playing your front character, but instead an entire team. And I wouldn't call it a stretch to claim that Genshin owes much of its success to its amazingly fun and well-crafted and responsive combat. And yet, content-wise, in my opinion, it's the most neglected aspect of the game. In my opinion. Tied, perhaps, with co-op. And like I said, I'll have to agree with the developers here. Spiral Abyss is, in fact, the best place to test your combat prowess, but we lack any reasons to actually use that prowess. It's like going through intense military training to then only take part in schoolyard fights with wooden sticks. The developers then go on to claim that adding another instance of endgame content similar to the Spiral Abyss could potentially add anxiety to players. And my first response to that is, if the developers cared about the anxiety of the players, then why can we still get Shishi on limited banners? All jokes aside, I don't find this to be a valid reason in any way, as you could simply not partake in any further combat-oriented endgame if that's not your cup of tea. the entire rest of the game is almost specifically tailored to non-combat. Hell, exploration is what Genshin does best. And in the same way, I don't get anxiety from my terribly neglected Serenity Pot. Now this is a topic for another video, but Genshin, in my opinion, has taken the worst part of other gacha games. They have taken the terrible RNG, and most of all the awful time gating system like Resin. But they have at the same time also left out the best parts of other gacha games. And before you get your pitchforks and jump in the comments, let me explain what I mean. In every other gacha game I've partaken in, one of the main reasons to upgrade your roster is to be able to clear harder and harder content. In Genshin, that is not a factor since you have been able to clear the hardest content for 2 years with the same team. Which personally bums me out. Because I like building new teams and I like getting new characters and I like having an incentive to do so. One of my favorite examples when talking about this topic is the gacha game Bleach Brave Souls. Though the game is not without its faults, I think they have handled the combat-oriented endgame and just endgame overall fantastic. Among many activities, you have one activity called... what's it called? I can't remember the name. But anyway, it's a tower with 50 floors, each floor with their own rules and mechanics. So essentially, if you want to clear it, you have to have a wide roster, you have to have many characters with different strengths and different mechanics and different functions if you want to get through it. So in other words, the game incentivizes you and rewards you for having a well-built wide roster for many situations. And I would really love for Genshin to have something similar to this. Because right now, I feel like there's no real incentive game-wise to spend resin, which is a really precious resource, to expand my roster beyond my two strongest teams that already steamrolls everything. But anyway, let's continue down the article. Then it is stated that not everybody is interested in Spiral Abyss, which is a valid point, I would imagine. But for players that players that just want the world and the exploration, there is already plenty. And I don't think that the choices should be one or the other. They are not mutually exclusive. You could add more combat-oriented endgame as well as non-combat. For example, with the same reasoning, they could have not added the Serenity Pot. Not everyone is interested in it. Which is true. I'm one of them. I don't care for it. But I'm glad that they added it in to the game for the people that do enjoy it. And the addition of it takes nothing away from the game for me. And then the question continues on and ends by them hinting that they are looking to add more endgame gameplay which is not combat oriented. Because I quote, Genshin's world naturally gives itself to different kinds of gameplay. And I agree on that point as well. We have had some real fun events in the past that is not traditional Genshin combat. My favorite thus far is the tower defense event we had in Inazuma. I had a real fun time clearing that with my friend. And also I think they did a good job with this second anniversary event. I think they knocked it out of the park, in fact. Getting to meet Venti and the rest of the Mondstadt crew again literally gave me goosebumps like more than once. It was like a high school reunion. It's been great. And now with Summer, I really think that Hoyoverse has been doing a fantastic job the sheer quality of the whole region, accompanied by their best soundtrack yet. I mean, just if you haven't yet, just when you are walking through the jungle or getting to one of the villages, just stop and appreciate the music. It's amazing, really. And exploring this new region, it has been like exploring worlds from the absolute best AAA titles. And that's a massive achievement for Hoyoverse. Like, they have set the bar so high what gacha games should be in so many aspects, but in also so many aspects they are still so far behind other gacha games. Now I'm only going to be speaking for myself, but I have since launch been of the sentiment that they will add more endgame content like the Abyss in the future, seeing how that is the natural progression of any other gacha game out there. But now we are 2 years in, and this article seems to shatter such illusions. It does, however, hint that there may be more endgame coming, but it's not going to be combat focused. So here's to hoping that's at least something to look forward to. Because right now, in endgame wise, after you explore the new region, you get back to like this stale, dead period of time where there's nothing to do in the game. You have your daily commissions, which is literally a chore to do. And you're just waiting to be drip-fed some new content. But I want to end it by saying, like, all of this is coming from a place of love for the game, and I want it to live up to its full potential. Like, the game is amazing in so many ways, and I hope that if we can be vocal about this, that they may also take the more hardcore players into consideration. Because what I've been gathering from the community is that nobody liked what was said in this interview. Like, it wasn't good news for anybody. Well, anyways, I'm gonna ramble on if I don't stop it here. So that's my thought on the matter. So what is your take? And I'm trying to get rolling here on YouTube, so a comment, a like, or if I could be so bold, a subscribe would literally mean the world to me. Until next time, stay safe. Haku signing off.
Yes, 見切りました。